the afterlife and what happens to a non-believer in the afterlife? Does that depend on whether they're Muslim, Christian, or Jew?
Well, this is a very good question.
It's because my mum's friend just passed away last night.
Okay. Well, okay, let me answer this question, right? So generally, if you read the Quran, chapter 4, verse 48, chapter 4, verse 110, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَن يَشَاءُ. It says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not forgive that someone does shirk with him, or association of partners, but he forgives whatever else to whoever he wants, yeah? This is the general rule. However, there are exceptions to that rule. And the major exception is what's mentioned in chapter number 17 of the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. That we weren't someone who was going to punish people until they were sent a messenger. So generally what we believe as Muslims is that the act of associating partners with God, as would be the case we would believe from a Christian perspective or a Hindu perspective or even an atheistic perspective, because atheists we believe are mushrikeen. There are people that are, they have some sort of God, actually. It could be their own desires, it could be societal expectation. But from our angle, they're not just people who don't believe in God. Because God isn't just someone, statue that you worship. It's something you're dedicating your life to. So all of these individuals, if they have not, and this is a really interesting point, which not many people have grasped, if they have not been exposed to the message of Islam, then we cannot say that these individuals are definitely going to hell. As per the hadith, there's a hadith of the Prophet Muhammad saying that those individuals who had not received the message, they will be given an independent, tailored message on the Day of Judgment. So it's not the case that we believe every single non-Muslim is going to hell. Because that's something which is kind of like a misconception, which is promulgated by people that want to promote Islam as a tribalistic type religion. Or a kind of religion which promotes that we're the chosen people. We don't believe that we're the chosen people. Or just because we were, by virtue of the fact that we were born as, Pakistanis or Egyptians or, I don't know, whatever it may be, that we are going to heaven and everyone else is going to hell. In fact, we believe that those who have gone through a discovery process and recognize themselves, recognize God, which is their instinctive nature anyways, those are the individuals who will go to heaven. As for those who have corrupted themselves, and this is the point here, because there's a distinction between those who have, and this is the most important point, who have received the message and those who have not received the message. So Muslims in that perspective have no advantage. Because a lot of people say, okay, if you're born in a Muslim family, then you have an advantage. Well, not really. Because if you're born in a Muslim family, you have all the evidences usually given to you. You have all the message given to you wholesale. So it doesn't mean to say that you have an advantage. Since if someone else living in the Amazon rainforest or something like that didn't hear about Islam, it's not to say that they're going to be treated in the same way as you're going to be treated. You'll be treated in a more critical way, or you'll be assessed and judged by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a more critical way. Now, who are the people who will go to hell? Basically is the question. Yeah? In a nutshell. The people who will go to hell are those individuals who, number one, after having, because we believe as a matter of natural predisposition that people have belief in God, or they have their submission to God. As we said in the Quran, in chapter number 7, verse 172, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He told the people, the arwah, the souls, when they were in God's presence, in His divine presence, He told them, أَلَسْتُ بِرَبِّكُمْ قَالُوا بَلَا شَهِدْنَا. He said, do you take me as your master? They said, yes, we do. So in other words, there is an intrinsic, inbuilt belief that all of us are meant to have within our souls, that we're meant to be inclined to God. What the message does, what Islam does, what the Quran does, what the prophets do, is reinvigorate, revitalize, or reawaken that which is already necessarily within the human being. And we had, as we said before, there's evidences for that. It's not just an empty statement that we're making as a theological point. In fact, as we said, the Oxford Anthropological Society in 2011 have come to similar conclusions that children are actually born with belief in God. So this is actual evidence that strengthens our thesis. As for that, the point that those individuals now who have been exposed to the message of Islam decently, in a non-corrupted, non-distorted way, those individuals who then reject the message, which should resonate with them automatically as a matter of natural predisposition, are the people who would render disbelievers that will go to hell. or polytheists who will go to hell, because they have intentionally corrupted their default state. That's what we believe. But it's not necessarily the case that all non-Muslims are going to hell. It could be the case that an atheist goes to heaven and a Muslim goes to hell. And that sounds very controversial. But if an atheist has not been exposed to the Islamic tradition, and a Muslim, and I put that in, obviously, not a true Muslim, but a Muslim by name, has been exposed to the Islamic tradition but rejects it, the atheist might be tried independently on the Day of Judgment, to which he might succeed and go to heaven. And the Muslim who has been exposed to the Islamic lesson but rejects it, born in a Muslim family, he might go to hell. But generally speaking, as for rulings regarding non-believers and what to do, you're not allowed to call, generally, as many of you may know, as a matter of procedure, not as a matter of reality of what's in that person's heart or where that person's going, knowledge of where that person's going. As a matter of procedure, we're not allowed to make dua for them after they die. We can make as much dua, supplication, for non-believers as they're alive. You know, you can do as much of it as possible, but when they die, you're not allowed to make dua. And there are other such procedural things that you're not allowed to do for disbelievers as a matter of procedure, not as a matter of, okay, we know what's in that person's heart, and we know that person's going to hell, for sure, the individual. We only know that the people that go into hell are those that are mentioned in the Quran, for sure. Yeah?
When you said about praying for the non-believers,
Yeah.
so that's just the non-believers, not the non-Muslims?
No, so if a non-Muslim dies, you're not allowed to make any dua for them. A non-Muslim, generally. But that's not to say that if that Muslim dies, that we know that that person's going to hell. Do you get it? It's a procedural thing, not necessarily to suggest that we know what's in that person's heart or that person's end fate. We don't know that. But what we're saying is, that's an injunction, a Quranic injunction, which we have to follow. But that encourages and incentivizes people like me and you to make more dua, make more supplication for disbelievers or non-Muslims generally in this world, so that they can be guided to the right path. Because we're allowed to do as much of that as possible. And we are encouraged to do that, in fact. In fact, when a non-believer sneezes, when they sneeze, we're encouraged to say, Yahdikum Allah wa yuslih balakum. May Allah guide you to the right path and make your affair good. So we're encouraged, actually, it's a sunnah, to make dua for disbelievers in this world. But in the next, when they die, then that's the cut-off period. Anything like that?